Our players have great energy to play a foreign tour in August, so we're ahead of the game defensively, offensively. We went and competed, played 3 games over there, so we have some game experience under our belt in training camp, which is nice. Usually with 8 new players, 5 new freshmen, you're doing a lot of teaching, but we were able to do our teaching before we went on a foreign tour.
What did you learn on that tour?
We learned that we have a lot of depth. We have guys that play multiple positions. We're a pretty good shooting team, and we can be a very good defensive team if our players really buy into the position defense.
What's kind of the goal? Like you said, with a new team, normally you'd be teaching a lot. So what becomes the goal now in the fall, in this fall camp, since you don't have to do as much teaching?
Well, we have 8 days of training camp, and we'll conclude that on the 8th day with an inter-squad scrimmage. So we still have a lot of teaching to do. We have some offensive sets to put in. We have some defensive concepts that we saw we could do overseas that we want to implement now in our scheme. So there is still a lot of teaching, but we're just ahead of where we would normally be without that foreign tour.
Are you still searching for the identity of this team, or is that something you felt like you learned a little bit about?
Well, the identity has to be toughness on the defensive end. I think that we've made significant strides. We're a better rebounding team just naturally because we're bigger and longer this year. But we also have 5 freshmen that are high IQ players that come from winning programs. We have 2 graduate transfers who've been through college basketball for 3 years, and they give us a lot of depth and experience. And then we have some seniors, Nick and Jonah here, with Elijah and Chuck as returnees. So we have a good mix of youth, but the youth is more experienced than a normal group of 5 freshmen.
You talk about that freshman group, obviously one of the highest ranked recruiting classes to come into USC. What have you learned about those young guys so far, and how far can they help push this team?
They're winners on and off the court. They add a lot to our program. And they just go out and they take care of business, and they work extremely hard, and they're good teammates. So we're excited for our freshman group because we feel that a lot of them are going to have to play big minutes for us this year as we develop a rotation.
With Onyeka and Isaiah down low, having Nick coming back, a little bit more depth down low, it seems like. How do you figure out where those guys fit best and how you can play them together?
Well, they'll have to play together quite a bit this year. We'll have big lineups, we'll have small lineups, and we'll have in-between lineups. And that'll be dictated on how we're playing, our foul trouble, what kind of defense we're going to play, the opposing team, how we match up with them. So there'll be a lot of factors that go into what we start with in our starting lineup, and as well as our rotation throughout a game.
You obviously still have a lot of time to learn a little bit more about this team, but do you feel like there's more versatility with some of those guys, with Max and different guys that can play the wing but are also big guys too?
Yeah, Max is over 6'8", he keeps growing. Daniel Utomi's a grad student from Akron. He's very strong physically, so he can play the wing, he can play the power forward. Max is tall and lanky and long, so he can do the same. And then we have Isaiah that can move between really 3 possessions, 3, 4, or 5, because he's so skilled, and his IQ, he's a very good passer. So we're excited about the depth in the rotations, and it's a lot of basketball to be played before we open up.